Good morning. Happy New Year. January 1st of 2025. I wanted to come on here and talk about the year ahead and how to think about your own happiness, your peace, your joy, your wealth, your health. I want to talk about that. I'm going to talk about it through the lens of fractional, of course. I'm going to talk about it through the lens of independence, career self-sovereignty, because that's what I know. Those are the things that I know. What I wanted to share today is, as you look at 2025, as you look at the year ahead, how to put yourself in a place of independence, in a place of agency, in a place of self-fulfillment and self-fulfilling. Historically, we've thought about ourselves and where we fit somewhere else, for someone else. It's been the work model for millions, tens of millions of Americans for many decades. My identity, my health, my wealth, whatever independence I have is attached to my job. And that job is a company, and that company is a single paycheck. And I am at the whims of the market and that company and its place in the market and the leadership and all of that. And it can be a very disconcerting thing in that it's your life, it's your health, it's your wealth, it's your independence, it's your family, it's you, and it can be a little unsettling when you pause and think about it, that all of that is attached to a single place, and if that single place goes south, which we all know it can, these layoffs that keep happening are a great reminder of that. Amazingly profitable companies lay tons of people off. I can't make sense of it myself, but it happens nonetheless. So what I wanted to share today and hopefully get you thinking about as I sit here in the parking lot of Target before I go get groceries for the family for the week. What I would love to have you think about is think about the word independence. Think about what that means to you. Think about how it stirs emotions inside of you. And the reason I think it's healthy to think about that is when you really think about independence, obviously it's a very American thing. Like, this is something that we hold near and dear in this country. Our foundation as a country and our culture anchors to the idea of independence. So it's a very warm and pride and often patriotic feeling. And there's some juxtaposition between those feelings of independence, and an economy and maybe a job or a way to get a job that is almost the opposite of independence. Is you're bound to the needs of that company, whether you like it or not. So let's say you want to get really healthy. You want to lose 30 pounds or 40 pounds, and you need time for that, and you need money for that. You need independence for that. And oftentimes, when I talk to people who are leaving corporate America, they often say, I had to sacrifice my health because the job asked for so much. I would be at work, and then the demands were high, and the share of my brain it took was so high that even if I did have the time, I didn't have the brain power to really go get healthy. So that your independence takes a little bit of a hit. And let's say you want to get wealthy. make more money and have more financial independence and that sort of stuff. And obviously the place we go for that is we go to our work. And we do things like add to the 401k and try to save up and do things like that. Well, it's kind of sad to think if you want that, there's the climb the corporate ladder, maybe you'll get paid more. But most of us, in the normal workforce, we see contributions to that someday later you might be able to take advantage of. But, barely keeping up with the inflation rate is not going to add to your wealth. And there's a way to get around that, and that is to leave one job for another. You're never going to get a 10, 20, 30% raise at a company. It's incredibly rare. Super rare, very rare. But obviously if you leave one company for another, that has historically been the way to get that kind of yield. But in all cases, it's still a threat to your independence, because you're going to have to lean in and spend more time and energy and emotional energy on trying to get a promotion and trying to get a raise and advocating for yourself. And so much of the control of that is outside of you. You're hoping that another entity, the business, the market, something will favor you. And you don't get what you want very often when it comes to independence. So if you want to be healthy, you got to give up some of your independence. And you want to be healthy to be independent. If you want to get wealthy, you have to give up a lot of your independence. And you want to be wealthy so you can have more independence. And it seems like, this is the American conundrum right now, that where we're stuck is more work does not equal more independence, does not equal more freedom. In fact, it has the inverse effect. So this was what I wanted to share today, is what I hope everybody thinks about in 2025 is think about how you make your living, how you make your life, and add the thought of independence into it and see how independent you actually are. And if you're not feeling it, find another way to make a living and a life where you have agency and control over your health and wealth far more than you do right now. And give yourself some grace. There's a status quo that we have in America, in our economy, it's often talked about, the shareholder economy, where the upper echelons take most of the yield and everybody else doesn't, and but yet everybody else is doing the work where all of that yield comes from. So there's this kind of conundrum we're in, and I love it when Simon Sinek talks about this. The shareholder economy is escalating or migrating the wealth up off the backs of the people who are earning it, and it's not just, it's not fair, but I don't expect that to change anytime soon. Those who are getting the yield would have to all of a sudden find themselves altruistic and want to return it, and even the power structures that might exist for that probably don't want to answer to it. Wonderful people like Warren Buffett had said we need to be taxed more, and even those who would answer to that, right, political bodies, like, yeah, we're not going to change the tax code for the super wealthy. So it's a conundrum, and I think that the way to balance that out for yourself is to put it on your own shoulders, is to reject and resist the status quo that does not serve you if it's not serving you, and put your future and your world on your own shoulders. Now, I'm going to say go fractional, where you have 3 or 4 clients and you have some other things. You're your own business, you're your own LLC. You're in charge of your own independence. If you want wealth, you have agency over it. If you want health, you have agency over it. And of course, we all want wealth and health, but you have agency over it. And it's a whole new world with fractional that allows that to take place. So for 2025, I hope you find independence. And if you don't have it, I hope you reach for it. I think that we are a far better society, far better communities. I think we are better as a populace when there's far more independence spread around and far less centers of influence, whether it's political or economic, far less single hyper powerful centers of influence. I think we do better when there's millions of landscapers and millions of accounting firms and millions of independent workers like me. I think that's healthy for us. In fact, I think it's our founding as a country, as we were founded to be very independent. And we're finding ourselves not quite as much of that as I think our founders would have liked to see. So here's to an independent 2025 for you.